All right, welcome to the Baking
Bacon
Scraps,
scraps.
our
Hey,
second.
Lisa.
Oh, hi. Hi, sorry. At this point, we've already been recording a bunch of stuff, so
So we'd
hi.
already said hello to each
We
other
said
a
hi,
few
but now we
times.
say it again. So hi to everybody out there.
Thanks
Um,
for joining us today. And what a treat we have.
yes, we have a wonderful, wonderful baker to share with all of you. This is our second baker from the Great Australian Bake Off that we are, I was going to say profiling. I guess we're not really profiling,
Having a conversation with.
having a spotlighting. And
Spotlighting.
she was just a complete, wonderfully, wonderful joy to talk to. And I'm so happy that we can share this conversation with all of you.
Yes. I mean, her joy, if you watched her on season 8 of Great Australian Bake Off, she was a bright light, sparkly,
Yeah.
and both what she wore, because she always wore these bright colors, but also her sparkly personality shone through in every episode. And thankfully, we got to watch her all the way to the 10th episode in the finale. And if you know who we might be talking about, if you've watched, if you haven't, spoiler alert.
The title is on the episode before
Oh,
we
you're
get
right.
to this one. So
You can tell I'm tired when.
it's all good. It just makes for more entertaining
Yeah,
entertaining podcast
this
and
is
YouTube.
the comedic part of the podcast.
This is why no editing is great.
Ah, there you go. Maybe we should. Maybe we should go back to
No, we're
some
not editing
editing.
this. No. Okay, spoiler
Anyway,
alert.
we're talking about Dimi, and yeah, and what a fun conversation we had with her, and we are so thrilled to share her with all of you as well.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us and please welcome Dimi.
Demi, hello. We can hear you, which is a good thing.
Okay, it's Yay!
Yay! That's awesome. Woo!
Yeah. All
It's
right.
it's a good thing we've recorded a few of these because if this was in the earlier days, we would not have known.
And I wouldn't have known either. So it would have been like, okay, I'll speak to you later.
We'll just chat through the whole entire, we're
Yeah,
doing like
we'll just message.
texting the whole entire
Fine.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Aw,
Very big exaggerated facial
Oh my
responses
gosh.
and everything.
oh.
So
So good to see you, Demi.
so good to see you. I'm so excited.
We're
Good.
we are super, super excited to see you and to congratulate you on such an amazing run on season 8 of Great Australian Bake Off.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. It's
It's
crazy.
amazing.
I know it is. It is. It was yeah. It's like a distant memory now.
I bet.
Yeah.
It was so crazy when it's on and you're in the thick of it, and then it's over and you just keep going on with life.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. And
like
then
you
all of a sudden, a
already had
year
time to
later.
process it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah. One of
yes,
the
it's
things
nice
that,
to. Oh, sorry, you go.
no, it's okay. One of the things that we found very interesting was how there was literally a whole year between you filming it and it
Mhm.
airing.
Yeah. Yep. So again, with that, we filmed and then had to walk off set like nothing happened.
Mhm.
And
and
not
and
tell
keep
anybody where
it
you've
for a
been.
whole year. Yeah, pretty much. The good thing about that time when I was filming was I had a trip planned to Ireland. So it just kind of worked out that filming landed the time I had that time off work. And
Oh,
that time was booked off the year before. So before I even knew I was going on to be on the show. So it was just like I was meant to be. It was meant to be.
yes.
So,
And you had a great excuse because is that what you told everybody that you were actually traveling through
yeah.
Ireland?
Yes, yeah. So my ex-fiance at the time, he's Irish. And so we just had this, he still went and I stayed and filmed and yeah. So
Oh,
crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
I
crazy.
know.
It was
That
meant to
was great.
be.
It was great.
Meant to
Yeah.
be.
It was meant to be. It was.
and then you
So
made some really good friends too there. So that was
um
definitely meant to be.
that was such I think that's the highlight of going on a show like this. And you've probably heard a lot of the bakers say that the biggest highlight would have to be baking tribe you meet. And that was a huge part for me to apply was got to a stage where I was like, I just want my people and I want people, you connect with people on Instagram, but you want more, you want that physical kind of be able to just meet up and let's talk baking and, all that. So that was really nice to, I've got a tribe now. I've got a tribe of,
Nice.
we've got a WhatsApp group that just, we can just talk all things baking and it's normal.
Oh, so wonderful.
Sounds
Yeah.
blissful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
how Christina and I met is through
Mhm.
Instagram. And then,
Yeah.
we live a ferry ride away from each other, so about an hour and a half.
Yep.
But we don't see each other in person often. But
Mhm.
now when we do, it's just, that connection that you have is so different from the connection that you make, even though it's real on Instagram,
Yeah.
especially among bakers.
No, absolutely. But it's different when you get to meet and, yeah,
Out
different
together.
energy. So yeah.
So tell us a little bit about you and, your early life and all of those kinds of things. Like just give us a little bit of a snapshot.
Yeah, I know. I need to get better at talking about this in like 30 seconds because I feel
We got
We have
time.
time.
We got time. Take
I
it.
was because
Take
I
it
wrote
all.
notes. So here are my notes. Like when you sent me your message, I was like, all right, I better write some things down because, some key points. But yeah, my journey. So I live in a small little country town. That's where I grew up. We ended up here in Australia. I moved to Australia when I was like 4.5. And we're in Temora now because my mum was actually an exchange student in Temora when she was 17. So after that year in Temora, I moved back, met married my dad, did all that, had all us 3 kids. And then we moved back to Temora. So it was, this place was my destiny before I was even born. Anyway, so that's that. Temora has been a huge part of my journey. So, um, and then my mum's a baker, my dad's a chef.
Oh, wow.
So we moved to Temora. My dad opened up a restaurant. So they had that for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And my mum was always an amazing baker and an amazing cook, but she was never trained, whereas dad was. Dad was a professional chef. Mum went and trained as a baker when she was probably in her 40s. So, but she was just a natural, great cook, great baker. And actually a huge part of going on Bake Off was for them because I thought I always used to think, God, if they had this chance to be on a show like this, they just would have smashed it out of the park. Like it
Hmm.
just so it was a huge, huge part of Bake Off was for them. But yeah, so yeah, growing up in the country, tomorrow's a huge part of my life. And then I've lived overseas, traveled, done all that. And it's I don't know, my journey like when I was listening to some of your guests and a lot of their memories with baking was baking in the kitchen with their mom or their grandma or whoever.
Mhm.
And even though my parents were cooks and bakers, I didn't have that experience because they had the restaurant, so they were
Right.
always working.
Yeah.
But I was around that energy, so
Hmm.
I was seeing it, I was experiencing it differently.
Yeah.
So I was always dabbling in cooking and just, by myself. Like, I'd just be, whether it was out the backyard making a little fire and, cooking that way or in the kitchen, and just throwing in whatever ingredients. Um, so, I was always around that. Um, but then it was never a passion back then, it was never like something that I thought this is going to be my future.
Yeah.
Um, and gosh, see, I'm waffling. So then, so my background's actually teaching. So my future was to become a teacher, and I am a teacher, and but it was through teaching that I ended up procrastinating a lot when I was,
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
and that's when it all sort of kicked off. So I was 28. So I was meant to be a teacher at 24. So when I finished school, I'd actually moved to Canberra, lived there for 5 years, and then in that time, I should have became a teacher at 24, I think. But I decided to go to London for a couple of years and live over there as a 24-year-old, and
Fun.
travel
Nice.
and do all that kind of stuff. Um, and actually it was there that I was inspired to then come when I moved back to Australia. I moved to Sydney, and I just from being in London, I just going to different events and meeting different people, I got a diploma in event management. So I was still working with kids, but then I went and got my diploma in event management, and then decided, okay, it's time to go to uni now and get this degree. The whole time I knew there was something else. There was something else.
Mhm.
I knew teaching would get me somewhere, but I just knew that wasn't it.
Hmm.
Um, but I still went ahead, went to uni, did my 5 years, but that's when the baking really kicked off. So I would be missing lectures because I'd be at home baking. So, and I remember one of my friends going, "What are you doing? Like you're meant to be at uni, not baking." Um, yeah, and then after my time in Sydney, I had 8 years in Sydney, and then I moved back to the country, and that's when it really kicked off. So that's when Celebrate by Dimi was, launched, and that became my creative outlet and platform to really step into my baking. And I lived with mum and dad for a couple of years when I moved back. They had a granny flat. So again, I was back with mum and dad, and I was learning, more from them. But I was it was gosh, I was in my 30s then. So, I'm learning from them, but not as a child, now as an adult. So
Mhm.
it was yes, that was good. And then yeah, things just evolved, evolved, evolved. And it was that time back in Tamora that I discovered Bake Off. And I was like, oh my God, love to go on that show one day. But I knew I wasn't ready. Like I know I've heard you guys that, you just got to keep, you can apply, but it might not be the time. So then you go back and you just keep practicing, take inspired action every day. And when I saw that first episode of Bake Off, I was like, right, 3 years. I'm gonna pencil that in for 2023.
Look
Love
at
manifesting.
that.
You
Yep.
manifested it all.
Yeah, well, I love manifest. That's vision boarding. That's a huge part of my life as well. Manifesting and, really like I said, taking that inspired action every day and, not thinking it's going to happen tomorrow. Like it's hard work. I
Yeah,
worked my butt off for those 3 years,
bet you did.
to then applying. So, yeah, it just, yeah. So I penciled it in, moved back to Sydney and, yeah, I was teaching in Sydney, still had my baking, like I was baking on the side and creating content and baking for people. And, yeah, and then it was time, then the applications popped up like it's time to apply, applications are open. And I thought, right, everything in my body was like, you need to apply this year, like just do it. And it
Nice.
was in 2023. And I'm like, you know what? I can't make bread still. I'm really not good at bread.
Oh, bread.
Like, oh my God, bread week was terrible. Um, but I thought, you know what? I'll just apply. And then that's it. And applied and
Wow.
yeah, heard from them a couple of days later and
That's great.
yeah, it was great. And then the Zoom meeting, and then got through that. And then it was like a little practice bake at home. And then it was the auditions. And then you had to wait till they auditioned everyone else around Australia. And you're like, okay, I am not getting on this show. Like that is not happening. They're going to all of Australia. Like I just thought, oh,
Yeah.
Sydney, and that was it. And then yeah, there was that probably about a good month before we found out that we'd made it on the show. So yeah. No,
Amazing.
it's all good.
And how did you find out? Do you remember where you
Yep.
were, what you were doing?
I bet
Yep.
you
Yep. So
do.
I was leaving work, I was leaving school, and I had a missed call. And I was like, oh my God. And it was Annika, one of the producers. And I was like, oh my gosh, my heart was like pumping. No, actually, before that, it was another producer, and he was ringing to say, you're in the top 30.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, oh, not going to get it. But top 30 seemed so far away. Like, even though you were so close, it was kind of like, nah. And I just thought, nah, not going to get it. It was just, no, that's not going to happen. Um, so I just left it. And then it was literally 2 days later, walking out of work, missed call from Annika. And yeah, it was just like, call me back, called her back. And I'm in the car. And this is one, because I documented the whole journey,
Oh,
but
I
this is
love
the
it.
one one bit that I didn't document, even like getting off the phone and having like a selfie where I would have been like, oh, there was nothing. I was like, oh, there was nothing to, document that moment. But I won't say what I said when she said, just want to let you know, you're in the top 12. And I was like, are you effing serious? He's like, he's like, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. So,
Nice.
yeah, so it was, yeah. And then it was on. And then it was just like, whoa. The
Hmm.
next week, you're getting all your briefs, yeah, the prep in the lead up to Bake Off is very intense. And
Yeah.
then before you know it, you're moving into your apartments that they put you up in, and yeah, it's go, go, go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And there's you guys have an extra 2 weeks to your season versus the
Yes.
Canadian version as well.
Canadian.
Yeah.
And
There's 8 weeks in the Canadian version. Australia has 10. So that's,
Yes.
I mean, it's
six more bakes.
already right. It's 2 more extra weeks of like
Yep.
stress baking.
Yep. 30 bakes. 30 bakes in yeah, so the show's obviously aired over 10 weeks.
Mhm.
We film in six. So it's intense. The days are long.
Yeah.
Like some of the days were 14-hour days. Like you just, and it's amazing when you're watching the show and you think, oh my God, that took 14 hours to film that 15 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy what goes into yeah, making a show like this. Maybe you
Mhm.
just yeah, it's amazing. So it was amazing to watch. But at the same time, you're like, oh no, they didn't show that bit. They didn't show that bit. Like there was
Mhm.
Yeah.
bits you don't see that were really funny. And but the one thing they say is, we will never make you look bad. And I think that's the
Mhm.
beauty of going on a show like Bake Off. They will never make you look bad,
Mhm.
even though, some of those bad bits are funny bits. So you're like, you could put a few of those bits in there to make it a bit funny, but yeah, I think everyone came off really well, and
Mhm.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely. They're very protective of the bakers, and
yes,
everybody.
Mhm.
So I think
yes,
that's and how they handled, I mean, obviously there was a very sad thing that happened during the filming of the
abs
show, and I think that the way that they handled that was really gracious.
Mhm.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And Cal was just so um oh, she was amazing. And I wish we had that time with her to really connect more, but
Yeah,
the time we did have, she just shone, and it was really, look, it was a really special time with her.
good.
Um
Yeah.
and we're really, yeah, lucky we got that time. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
We
And
haven't Go
yeah.
ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, and yes, it was beautifully done, and that season was for her.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
very beautifully
No.
handled. We haven't talked too much about like with the other people that we have interviewed from
Hmm.
Australian about how that felt. And because you didn't have much information at the time, just that Cal was ill.
Yeah, that's it.
And
We were just like,
yeah.
okay, got a sore back and a bit of a cough.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
we're just like, she'll be back.
Yeah.
And then again, once it all sort of kicked off, yeah, we couldn't really breathe because no one knew we were on the show with her, and no one knew what was, because at that point we're still having to keep everything a
Yeah.
secret. But I think for me it really hit a couple of days after Bake Off launched.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Mm,
Yeah. So
yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
watch, even
Yeah.
for way over here, not
Yeah.
not really being so immersed in not knowing and being familiar so much with Cal or anyone else that's obviously more well known over there.
Yes.
It still hit hard over here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I can
Absolutely.
only
Yeah.
imagine. But
Yeah.
you all regrouped very well and did such an amazing job.
Yeah.
And I mean, the show carried on, which I think is
Oh,
wonderful.
it did. And Nat did a great job. Like she
Yes.
really, just kept it going.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
she's hilarious. She's so bloody funny, Nat. And
Yeah,
yeah,
she carried it
yeah,
very well.
yeah, it was just yeah, it was, look, it was great. Great to
Yeah.
be with. So yeah.
So
Nah.
you had been you had been watching previous seasons of the show. Like I'm sure that during that 3 years you didn't or the 3 year timeline that you gave yourself to get on, you didn't apply until you actually for the season that you got
Yep.
on. But I
Yep.
bet you were watching the other seasons
Yes,
and just
I was.
kind of getting yourself very familiar with how everything worked and practicing different bakes and everything like
Yeah,
that.
I did. And if even for me, like because you go on Bake Off and you're creating crazy bakes, and
Mhm.
that's not my style. So I was kind of like, how am I gonna I got on this show. How could I do this with a little bit of elegance, with a bit of my style? Um, so yeah, that was probably one of the challenges for me if I was going to go on this show. Like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So yeah, but yeah, it was really good watching all the other bakers, and I bet I could not watch the season that was aired while we were preparing because it would make me very, I hate saying the word anxious, but I would get really like I can't watch it because at
Yeah.
that point we were getting
Fully
ready to
in it. Yeah.
Mhm.
go and we were fully in it, so I'm like
Yeah.
I can't not watch this.
Yeah. Well, I
So
think that
I've watched
makes
it
sense.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but
Some self-preservation because you had a
yeah,
lot to work on. So focus on
yeah,
what you're doing. Yeah.
focus on. Yep, yep. So yeah, no. So yeah. And I became good friends with some of them that were in Sydney. So it was good to through Instagram. So we
Yeah.
connected through Instagram, and Hoda was one of the contestants. I think she was season 5. And we connected and we're now really good friends. And so she was a big part of, sort of inspiring me to go on and just apply, and just having those chats with her, someone who had experienced it before. And
Mhm.
yeah, so it was really nice to
Wonderful.
Great.
And did your parents give you any good words of wisdom, words of advice?
do you know not really, mum and dad, they look, what they've instilled in me is drive,
Mhm.
focus, creativity, and just bloody get on with it. So it was just like, get on there, do your best. And I don't know, even just being able to handle pressure, they are so good under pressure. So
Mhm.
um, they didn't give me advice, but oh my gosh, my mum literally did the show with me without being on the show. She was on that phone every day. Yep, she was
Oh,
there every step of the way. So yeah, and you can see in that last episode, she was very emotional
mhm.
at the finale. So
I mean, to be
yeah,
expected.
yeah,
Yes.
she could not. I was just like, oh my gosh, mum.
Oh,
Hold it
very
together. I'm like,
good.
I am not crying today.
Hold it together. Now, was
Yeah,
that a whole lot of extra pressure because they're right there when you're baking?
I know. And so showstopper, and I am making this cake, and I will never forget her face. She walks up to my bench and I'm icing my cake, and I cringe watching Bake Off now, like watching that episode and how I'd filled the cake. I literally just got the icing and I just slapped it on, and she's standing there and she's watching me like, what are you,
What are you doing? Are you?
what are you doing? That's not how you're meant to be doing it. Like, um, and then I was like, and then I'm like, oh my God, she's gonna freak out at this. Yeah, it was funny. And even watching her during judging, and she would be a great judge. Brutal, but she'd be great.
Mm.
She just, yeah.
You
So
could just suggest that to them.
yeah, exactly. She's a really good judge. Get my mum on there. So yeah, no, yeah. No, but that was funny. Just her walking up to the bench, looking at me, going, no, no. But when you're in that state, when you're in under that pressure, you're just like, I don't even know. That was like a
Yeah.
6-hour bake, that last
Oh,
bake.
Yeah, that was incredible.
yeah.
And that was non-stop for 6 hours. So yeah, so many elements, so many things going on.
You had a lot of different bakes that they asked an awful lot of you. I mean,
Yes.
you had the moving vehicle,
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
vertical pie,
Yep.
floating cheesecakes, like all of these things. I'm like, what are they doing? they had you do a Sarawak cake?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
oh my
still, I
goodness.
don't even still know what that's actually meant to taste like because I've never had one. So,
And I've tasted a couple. I made one myself to try it. And I didn't like the way it tasted. It tasted like
no.
crepes to me, and I was
Yeah,
like, I don't really want a cake made out. I mean, maybe a crepe cake, depending on what you've got between the layers. But I didn't enjoy it very much. And any
no.
other one that I have tasted the same. So I was like, I guess that's what it's supposed to taste like.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, I still haven't. And when I was practicing for that bake, there was a bakery near where I lived. It's probably about 15 minutes away
Yeah.
that made them. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I just need to get over there and just taste it just to see what I'm actually making. But I never got to it. So it was just, just fake it until it becomes it. So yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's very admirable the amount of amazingness that you pulled off.
Hmm.
Oh,
That whole cast was just so beautiful to watch.
Hmm.
oh,
I really enjoyed it. The first
yeah.
full season that I have been able to watch of Australian Bake Off. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
really,
Oh,
really enjoyed that.
that's really good. And you know what? Everyone on there was so good. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
it was fun. Good bunch of people. So,
Yes.
And
yeah,
such great energy and the chemistry you all had with one another and the support you all had for one another. It was just so beautiful to
absolutely.
watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And even going into the finale with Arvin and Elliot, it was like you're walking in with two of your best friends. Like,
Yeah.
and that's what it was. And it was never a competition. Everyone just stayed in their own lane. Everyone's got their different styles, their different ways of baking, and you just got on with it. And you're doing it well. I know for me, you're just competing against yourself, really. Like I never really felt like it was a competition.
Yeah.
No,
That's
it's
one of the
really.
beautiful things about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you just learnt so much
Cooperative.
from each other. Yeah, yep. But I do remember I remember after the first bake and uh we were standing there and I was like, okay, well, that was our pull apart cakes.
Hmm.
And I turned around and I was like, oh, yeah, I think I'm in with a pretty good chance. No, it'll be fine. And then we did the showstopper and I turned around and I was like, oh my God, I'm gone. Like the amount of talent in that shed was really inspiring.
It's
So
overwhelming, actually,
yeah.
especially to somebody aspiring to be on one of these shows one of these days. You're like, how in the world did they do this? How am I
Yes.
ever going to be good enough to do this?
No, you will. You will.
Right.
Will.
I have to visualize it.
Yes. And you need to
Exactly. Manifest it, write it
write
down,
down the date. What date
vision
are you
board.
going to apply for this? Next year?
We just had it.
2026.
We just had our audition, our open call yesterday.
Excellent.
Yeah, so
So
we
are
have
you
applied. It's all done.
right?
The written application is done. They know who we are by now anyway.
We've
Absolutely.
only
So
been at it a few years, right?
but it was great. We were able to bring our bakes in and this is only the third time in this is my fifth application and in
Yep.
about 6, 7 years, it's only the third time they've actually been able to taste something that we've
Yep.
made. So that
Fantastic.
you've
That's
got to do
great.
that. Take that
Yeah.
opportunity, right?
Yeah.
It was fun.
Absolutely. Oh, that is so, so good. Okay, so you've done that stage. Then what happens with you
Now
guys?
we wait. Now we wait
So,
for the bake along the Zoom bake
Yeah,
along.
we wait to
yeah.
be
If we
contacted
make
for that.
it to that next level.
Well, there's
Yeah.
first an interview, a Zoom interview, and then
Yes.
Mm,
the next stage would be the Zoom bake along where they provide you with a brief and you have to
Yes.
just like on
Yes.
the show, you have to figure out how
Yes.
you want to do it and develop the recipe, send them the recipe, send them the photos of your test bakes, all that kind of
Yep.
stuff,
Yep.
and then
And then
more
the
waiting.
audition.
And then
And
what?
then the audition. And then
Yeah,
you're on.
yeah, that's it. Only all those steps and all that waiting, but
just a
It's worth
few.
it.
Just a few. Yeah.
I think, you guys, you'll be on there.
it'll be a
You
great
will be
day.
so good to be on there. I will be watching. I'll be cheering you on.
Oh, yes. Have you seen Canadian?
I have been watching bits of it.
Okay.
So,
Oh, nice.
and actually when our Bake Off launched, some of us have, or maybe all of us, we've connected with a few of the bakers from the Canadian Bake Off, which has
Oh,
been
Yeah.
really
wonderful.
from the British Bake Off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been really lovely, like yeah, connecting with the others and
Yeah.
yeah.
A
And
totally
that's
worldwide baking family.
right.
Yeah, It really is. And everyone just
So
gets so
cool.
excited. Like, it's like, oh, welcome to the family. It's like, oh my God, yes.
Well, bakers are our people, right? And again, it's such an elite club that you are part of,
Mhm.
being on such an incredible, magical show.
Yep.
Not a lot of people have that privilege and opportunity to get there and talent to get there. And so once you are, it's a special elite group that
Mhm.
is and it's so nice that it actually transcends beyond your own franchise, but it is a worldwide thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really special. It is special. And I'm so grateful I've had the chance to experience that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think like, you know, like I said, just keep baking and right.
Keep doing it.
You know what I've been doing? Scripting. So that's something I got into last year. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's where you write like it's already happened. So
Right.
you can be writing like, oh my God, I just got the phone call from the producer. I'm on the next Canadian Bake Off. Like, and you're writing, I feel so amazing. I can't believe this has happened after, so long, blah, blah. Anyway, but you write it like it's happened. And I cannot, I can't tell, like, so many times that I've scripted over the last, 6 months, and things that I've written like down have been said word for word. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So start
All
scripting
right.
today. Once we get off this call,
I
you
like
script
it. Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
on the show.
I love one of the other things that you mentioned, inspired action
Yes,
was
Mhm.
something else that you mentioned earlier in our conversation.
every
Yeah.
day,
Very,
every
very
day.
important.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm writing this
It's
down.
just, yeah, inspired act. Yeah. Um, yeah, you just, yeah, act on it like anything,
See that.
just
Yeah.
if
So
if if you want to get on the show, well, you just make something small each. It doesn't have to be every day. Could be
yeah.
like, once a week or
Me.
whatever. Taking that, even doing things like this, it's just, so inspiring, and it's going to lead you to something else, or, even just us connecting like that is just
Yeah.
so powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. We're
So
building our
And
tribe.
yes.
exactly,
So
exactly.
did you envision that you would be in the finale?
That's a question.
Do you know what? So this is what I used to do again. So when I was getting ready to apply, I would go to the gym and I'd be running on the treadmill and I would tear up because I would be visualizing being in that finale. But as I was visualizing that, it was,
Are you
oh
sure
my
it
God,
wasn't tears of pain? Sorry, from running on the treadmill?
well, no, it actually wasn't then, but there was tears of pain later.
Later.
Sorry.
But these were like tears of like, oh my gosh, like I wasn't even on the bloody show, but I was just visualizing and feeling that emotion. And then, but also thinking about how my nieces and nephews were going to feel. And that
Mhm.
was making me really emotional. So
Oh.
that's what I would do. Like
Beautiful.
I'd be on the treadmill and every time I'd start running, I would tear up because yeah, that was just going through my mind. But when I actually was on the show, there was no way did I think I was going to be in that finale, not with with everyone else I was with.
Mhm.
Because there was, yeah, as you know, so many amazing bakers on there.
Such
And
talent.
yeah, such talent. And I think like I really struggled in those first 5 episodes, like just getting into the groove of it. Like I just yeah, I just didn't feel like I was, and that was the hard part actually. I think when you're going on there, you can bake,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but then you're producing bakes that just aren't up to your standard. And that's a really hard thing to get your head
Yeah.
around with the show too. Like it's like, no, I can do better than this. And
Such a
um
different environment, though.
yeah,
Totally.
Yeah.
yeah, it
Completely
is. Yeah, it
different.
is. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, you do put a lot of pressure on yourself when you're in that situation. But yeah, but then after episode 5, things just I sort of got into my flow, and yeah, just I think they were more my style bakes as the
Right.
show progressed. I'm like, oh yeah, I love cheesecake. Like I'm gonna do this, or oh yeah, I love So it was and I love making meringue. So I was like, oh my gosh, yep, I'm gonna, So it was I was in my zone.
Yeah.
Love making choux pastry. So I'm like, yep, I can do this. So it was just
You just
yeah,
had to
but
fight through those
For
first
those
few
first
weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was hard. So yeah, but then yeah, things they didn't get easier, but I think yeah, I think your confidence grows as well. Like you
Mhm.
become more confident, you become a bit more the camera's there and 50 other people in the room, it just doesn't bother you because by that stage you're friends,
Yeah.
you're best mates with your cameraman and your producer and you just get on with it. And yeah, it's sometimes I'd be talking too much and I'm like, oh my God, I've got to keep back,
Yeah.
you just I've only got 2 hours for this, mate. Stop talking to me. But yeah, it's I've lost my train of thought. I don't even
That's
remember what you
okay.
Oh, it's all good.
That's
No,
okay.
it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
miss it now? Do you ever feel like, oh, I'd love to do that again?
Um, I did once the show finished, I did miss it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like this void, and even my town, like, because I live in this small little country town, everyone got behind it and they loved it. And like, what the hell are we going to watch now? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to watch now. Um, but yeah, I would definitely do it again. I would.
Nice.
I would. I think, yeah, it'd be very interesting to experience it again, going in, like, after doing
Having
it.
done it, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Um, yeah, so
How did you
yeah.
practice for the technicals? Did you have
No,
people like
no,
throw recipes of you at
you
you?
don't.
Like, tell me how to do this, or tell me what you want me to bake, and I'll just try baking it.
No, you
You just
literally
don't
walk
even
in and
bother.
have no idea what you're going to get thrown at you for the technical bake. So they were
Yeah.
always really stressful, always panicked for them. I was like, oh my God. Um, but we managed to get through them. I don't know how.
Oh,
We had some doozies, like there was definitely some doozies.
Mhm.
But yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah, the tech.
baked the Zopf. I really, really, really liked
Oh,
it.
did
It was
you?
so yeah. I like the toasted vanilla chantilly. I thought that was really, really delicious.
And that is something that I do all the time now.
oh,
Yeah, it was
Thank
really
you. Yeah. 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 It's just a little, little trick that we learned from Rachel, and it
yeah.
was just, it's the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it made a big difference. I was like, wow, I
Yeah.
love this. I'm going to use this on other things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
well, that's the
it's,
brilliant thing about all of these shows as well, is it really inspires like the regular baker, or just it just inspires people to try new techniques or new recipes
Yeah.
or new ideas, new decor techniques or whatever. It's really wonderful that way.
it is. It is. You learn so much. Like in those 6 weeks of filming, oh my gosh, like what you gain from that time,
Mhm.
like you walk out a better baker. You do.
I
You
bet.
do. You just learn so much and you grow so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Yeah.
it's great.
And then
It's
being surrounded by amazing, talented people around you as well, that also are sharing their tips and tricks and techniques and different
ab-
things and how to do
ab-
things, shortcuts or what have you. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Like how amazing to be taught by, Darren and Rachel. Like it was just, you're walking with the giants. And that was a big thing for me the year before as well. Like, I wanted to now start walking with the giants because that's how, you learn. So to be learning from and not just them, but even just the whole team, you've got stylists there, you've got
Mhm.
all your camera crew, you've got like all these amazing, talented people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you just
Yeah.
anyway, you will experience this when you're on the show.
Yes, I will.
You
Today,
Jimmy's
will.
now
I found
manifesting it
out
for
I was
us.
on
I
the show.
am. Yes, yes, you will. So
I believe it'll
Jimmy will
happen.
start scripting this for us, Lisa.
Yes, I appreciate that,
I
Dimi.
will. I will getting off this call and I will script something about this.
That sounds
That is
very
Can't wait to talk
amazing.
about when you're on the
Amazing.
show. Yeah, it's gonna be
The,
good.
So,
the problem is we're probably never going to get on it at the same time, and that would be the most fun part is if we could both be there, but
Oh, you're a team.
we
You
are
need
a
to be on
team.
there together.
That would be
right?
really
How
going
would
outside the
you?
bounds of the show.
Well, I guess you'd be walking in as two besties. Like it would just be, you'd be happy for each other and whatever
Totally.
happened,
Oh,
you know.
absolutely.
That's how
Yeah.
we're
Oh
looking
my
at it now,
God.
right? If she gets in, I'm going to be thrilled. If I get in, she's
If
going to
she
be
gets in,
thrilled.
I'm going to be thrilled and supportive and her biggest cheerleader.
Yep. Yeah. Oh
And
my
then,
gosh. I just know it's going to happen. Okay. Anyway, yep. Fine.
So
all right.
let's talk a little bit about after Bake Off and
Yep.
what you're up to these days.
Yep. Let me just look at what did I write here? So so after Bake Off, so do you mean after filming Bake Off what happened or
Sure.
no?
Yeah.
No,
You
just
were
After
probably in a
filming.
bit of a holding pattern between
Yep.
filming and it coming
yep.
out, and then
Yeah.
probably the change would happen after it when it
Yeah.
started airing, right?
Yes. Yep, yep. So pretty much after Bake Off, probably it must have been maybe 6 months later. That's when I moved back to the country. So I left Sydney, moved back to Temora, and I knew moving back this time that I didn't want to teach. So I'd had this amazing experience on Bake Off, and I'm sure you've heard this from the other people you've interviewed, but it really does plant so many seeds and you're thrown in this direction where you just want to really follow your passion now. This is what you want to be doing um and the direction you're heading. So I was like, right, I'm moving back to Temora. I'm not going back to my old life that I had in Temora, which was teaching and had my baking on the side and whatever. I've really got to step into this next chapter. Um,
Awesome.
when I was leaving Sydney, I was really missing community.
Mhm.
Mm.
I walked past my neighbors that I'd been living next to for 3 years and they wouldn't have said hello to me. Like, I'm like,
Oh.
I am over this. I need community. I need food. And moving back to the country here, the region I'm in, we have got amazing local produce, amazing producers, and I just knew I wanted to tap into that. So um speaking to my friend and she's like, what do you want to do? I said, I don't want to teach anymore. She's like, okay, let me just contact my friend. Um, and he was working in council and he had a tourism officer position sitting on his table that he'd had sitting there for almost a year.
Oh, wow.
And anyway, my friend had said, well, Jimmy's moving back. She's looking for it was tourism and events. And I'm like, well, I've got a diploma in event management, not so much the tourism side, but I'm like, is this aligned to the direction I want to go in?
Hmm.
And I was thinking, well, yeah, it kind of is because, well, it's working with the community.
Mhm.
It's promoting Temora, which I wanted to do through my food, like in baking and whatnot. And it was a great way to meet all these amazing local producers in our area.
Yeah.
And so I thought, what?
Fantastic.
I'm just going to apply for this job, which was in the thick of the move. And it was like the worst uni assignment in the world doing this application. And I'm like, oh my God, like I do not have time to do this, but I've just got to do it. So got back to Temora 2 days later. I like had the interview and then got the job. So um yeah, so now I work as a tourism officer for Temora. I've been able to connect with amazing producers and, people in the Riverina. And so I, you know, promote the town and, our regions. But then I also would like to sort of tap into the food because, I mean, at the end of the day, food is what brings people together.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
when you're traveling, it's about the food. So
Mhm.
it's kind of trying to bring all that into my role now, as well as everything else. But yeah, actually, I wanted to show you. So this book here
Oh, yes.
called the
Oh,
Temora Centenary Cookbook, and it's from this is like such an iconic cookbook for my town, and I have been wanting to get my hands on this book for so long, and it's like recipes from 1880 to 1980, and I've gone and tagged like 36 recipes. But this has the most amazing baked, cakes and slices and all sorts of things from um, these amazing women in Temora. And
Wow.
so I am reprinting this book because you can't get your hands on it.
that's
So I'm going,
amazing.
so as part of my job, this is what I love about it is that I can, bring things like this, food,
Hmm.
links around food, back to the town and the community. And this is a book that's just so iconic. I can't believe it's not on our shelves. So I'm like, right, we are reprinting that. And then I want to make a little series with some of the ladies that are still alive, and we'll make some of the food.
Oh, that's
My
incredible.
dream.
That's
That's
amazing.
my dream with this. So this is like, that's that whole vision of coming back and working with the community and bringing the food into it. And yeah, I'm
Oh, I
excited.
love that. So the
Yeah.
recipes, you're going to reprint the whole entire
Yep.
book, and then those recipes are recipes that you want to kind of focus on for yourself, or
Yes.
yeah,
So the plan, I thought, you know what, I should do a little centenary series on my Instagram.
yeah.
But then I started a YouTube channel, which I have no idea how to do. But I was
Okay,
just
we
like,
can help you with that.
I'll just upload some stuff to YouTube. But I thought, let's make some of these recipes. Let's bring in, if the women aren't alive anymore, well, let's bring in their families and let's
Yeah.
let's cook some of their recipes. Or I bake it and then I invite them and we sit around and talk about that particular cake or that particular slice, and do
Mm.
they remember it? And it gives me good. As soon as I opened this book, it was just like a can of worms. It was just like, oh my God, like there's just so much inspiration here.
Oh,
So
I
the team,
love
That
this
is so
idea.
so
cool.
Yeah.
it's really exciting. So anyway, so that's happening at the moment.
And you can do that as part of your job. Like you can
That's
get
my
paid
job.
to do
Yeah.
that.
Part of my job. But then I get to
Amazing.
do the really juicy creative stuff with
Yeah,
my Celebrate page. So with my other,
perfect.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's really nice. It's really nice to tie in both.
yeah.
Um, and so anyway, so that's what I do 4 days a week. Um, and then Bake Off kicked off. So I
Hmm.
was really nervous actually when Bake Off kicked off, and moving back to Tomorrow, because Tomorrow's so small, and I was a bit nervous because I was going to be really like, okay, you're going to be out there now, and
Hmm.
you do get nervous about the judging and whatever else, but the whole town got behind it and they were
Oh.
so excited, and so that was really lovely to actually be here for the launch of that, because I would not have had that if I was in the city.
Hmm.
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to watch it with my parents each week and have friends over every week, like, to have them watch parties. Like, it just, none of that could have happened if I was still in Sydney. So, um, yeah, so that was great. And then now now that it's over, it's kind of like just got a few collaborations in the works now. So I'm working with Woolworths. I don't know if you've heard of Woolworths, which is one of our biggest, well, it's our biggest supermarket chain in Australia.
Yeah.
So I started doing a bit of recipe writing for them, and writing articles and things like that for their online platform of foodies who just love food. And we just, talk all things food. So it's great. And then I'll be working with Smeg. So I'm really
Nice.
excited to
Whoa,
do,
yeah,
yeah.
That's
So
a
that'll
huge
that's
partnership.
fantastic.
yeah. So that was
Congrats.
a surprise because I was not expecting that. But, I just love collaborating with brands and people. And that's when the magic happens.
Mhm.
Yes.
You're bringing in, different people and different talent and different,
Mhm. Yeah. It's
all
all
sorts of, yeah.
interdisciplinary teamwork all the time.
Yeah.
Everybody brings in their skills and their
Yep.
strengths. Wow, what you can create with that is amazing.
Exactly. Exactly. So, community, collaboration, creativity. What else did I write? And there was another C. Um, oh, where
Cookies.
is
No, cake.
Cookies.
where is it? Anyway, there was 4 C's, but that's what I'm all. Oh, connection, collaboration,
Connection.
community, and creativity. So that's
Yeah,
my focus, and
love
Oh,
that
it.
will what will moving forward is what I'll always be thinking about when I'm creating.
wow.
So
So when you manifest stuff, Dimi, like I mean, incredible to be able to take such a pivot in life from your early childhood education and and then slowly transitioning to incorporating all your baking and everything, and then really making that switch and going, you
yeah,
know what, I'm going to go for it,
yeah,
and now's the time, and this is how I'm going to do it. And to be able to do that in such a short period of time, And now you're just thriving in
Mhm.
this new, this new journey, this new path of yours. And it's so fun to watch. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun, but it has been a long journey. But if you and you should do this too, but if you look like way back, like to your like childhood when you were little, and think about the things you used to do as a kid, and like I was always a mum and I was always cooking and baking. And then, and then I was always a teacher. So I would always be a teacher with my sister and her best friend were the students. So I'd always be, whatever we were playing, I was always the teacher. And then, and then you sort of, and then I was, you know, I don't know. It was kind of like it was always there, like
Mhm.
through my early childhood. It was always there.
Yeah,
And then it
simmering.
was kind of, yeah, yeah. And then it's just sort of, well, I became a teacher, but then I was always cooking, like it just sort of doing the events and that event, course. And it just
Mhm.
all kind of ends up linking.
It was
Um,
definitely
yeah,
based on what you've been telling us. Like
Yeah.
you
yeah.
took that hospitality course, and then it
It
just
just,
ends up being such perfect timing later on for you to
yeah,
get that
yeah,
job when you move back to
exactly.
Tamara.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like you just, whatever you're doing now, it's never you can't just like, with the teaching, like I've done that, but it's like straight credit to and so many transferable skills to your
Yeah.
next chapter.
Yes.
Um, so I think, yeah, never um think whatever you've done is a waste because it will be somehow connected to where you were meant to do it to get
Yes.
to where you are today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's
Definitely. Well, you are a powerhouse, Dimi.
Wow.
I don't
No,
it's just taking inspired action every day.
I love
there you
it.
go. I think it's
Well,
wonderful.
you are inspiring for sure.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
No,
Inspiring and encouraging. So,
Yes.
and you're being a teacher to us
Supportive.
right
yeah.
now.
Well,
Mhm.
I just love, even like talking to you guys like I'm gonna walk away and I'm like, I'll be so inspired from, just our conversation. So you just, yeah,
It's
it's
wonderful.
so
Oh,
good. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me
so
on here. It's
fun.
been
Thank
fun.
And
you
thank
for
you.
being here.
Yes, and thank you for rescheduling because I know that
Oh,
we had booked earlier with you, but you were gracious enough
fine.
to just
Yes.
book another date with us. I know
It's
it's
totally fine.
with the
I'm used to
time
being
difference, it's hard.
flexible.
We appreciate it.
Flexibility, that's part of teaching, So
Yeah.
it's totally
Pivoting.
fun.
There you
Yes,
go.
that's right.
Yes.
There
That's
you
right.
go.
So,
So, do you think it's time to play a little game? Are you into
yes,
playing a game?
absolutely. I am.
Yes.
I am.
Okay.
Yes.
Time for this or that. Woo!
Okay.
We really need a theme song. We need to work on that.
Once upon a time, I had a theme song, but that was a different recording program. And now I don't bother editing very much because it's just so great to have these natural conversations
Mhm.
Oh,
True.
and then just
yes.
be able to post them like this is what we did. I'm not going to add sound effects. I'm not going to chop up people's sentences to make them
Yeah.
flow better. No, this is
It's nice.
conversation. I
Yep.
Yeah,
love it.
Yep.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
One of my favorite things. So we'll make up a theme song at some point and just sing it.
There, oh, ooh, I don't
Oh,
know. Well, maybe you can sing it. I don't think we want to subject our audience to my singing voice because we kind of want them to maybe stick around and watch the rest of the episode instead of having to run to emergency because their ears are bleeding.
you,
Stop.
you know who you could get? You could get Elliot. Elliot might be able to sing
You're
your
right.
Oh, you are
That,
right. I
that would
love
be
it.
so much fun actually to have
Yeah.
him sing
Oh,
your
he would
theme
be.
song. I love
Oh,
Oh, that would be brilliant.
Okay, writing
Okay.
that down too.
Yes,
All
yeah.
right.
Elliot,
Why
theme
don't you
Elliot.
song.
start off then, Christine?
Okay, so we're going to ask you a series of questions, as a couple of options, sometimes three, whatever. You tell
Mhm.
us what your preference is,
Yeah.
and are no right or wrong answers to any
Here
of
we
this,
go. Here we
and
go.
absolutely zero judgment
He's
of our
lying.
special guest.
You've
There,
seen this before. You know that she's lying. Yes, of our special
only
guest.
really
No
one
judgment.
question matters at the end of it. So
Okay.
yeah, there may
Okay.
be a little judgment depending on the answer. But we will start it off. Would you like me to start it off, Miss Lisa?
Sure.
Okay, we'll start off nice and easy. Coffee or tea?
Oh, definitely coffee, hands down.
All
Yep.
right.
How many
And
cups of coffee do you drink in a day?
Um, two max.
Hmm.
Definitely as soon as I get up in the morning,
Mhm.
I coffee.
Coffee
Yes.
is life.
Glass of water first, and then I'll have my coffee. But yeah, that is just a non-negotiable. And then if around 2 o'clock I'm feeling a little bit sleepy at work, I will have
Mm.
another
Yeah.
coffee.
Sounds
Nice.
about
But
right.
I
Yeah.
try and limit it to one. But yeah,
It's so hard because it's so good.
I know.
I know.
And I love instant coffee, so I'm not like buying, the creamy coffees. I might get maybe one of those a week, but it's
Yeah,
more
yeah.
the instant I love.
The eye opener.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
makes sense. And are you a straight up black coffee drinker,
Um,
or do you put anything in your coffee?
half a sugar, which I'm trying to stop this year. I never used to have sugar in my coffee, and then last year it was just like I need sugar in my
Suddenly it
coffee.
tasted
I had
good.
half a sugar and milk and a really good splash of milk.
Nice.
My
Yeah.
mom used to, she's not a coffee drinker. She'll drink decaf every once in a while, but she
Yeah.
would drink her tea with like literally 3 grains of sugar in there. I was like, why? What are you like? She would just take her spoon and put a tiny little bit of sugar and just like tip in 3 or 4 and I was like,
Oh my goodness.
that doesn't do anything. She's like, you can taste it. You can taste
Maybe,
it.
she might be onto something, because
I'm
salt
sure she
works.
is. She's
Salt works
smart.
like that in a lot of bakes, right? You just need a little bit of salt, and it really balances things out or brings out some other flavors.
True, but
So
I mean, even a
maybe,
pinch of salt is more than 3 grains of
well,
salt.
fair, fair, fair. It's better than how my dad.
Try the three. I'm going to try it, and I'll.
Go. Okay, you have to
I'm
report
really gonna
back.
get. I will. I
Yes,
will. I'm
let
going
us,
to do that.
and then I'll tell my Dutch mum will have inspired you from a world away.
Yes. Yes. And then I'll be like, I just have milk and 3 little granules of sugar, please.
Work well when it's cube sugar. All right, next question. Chocolate or vanilla? It is a
Oh,
hard question, isn't it?
Mhm.
this is really hard.
Because you start thinking through all the chocolate things you love and then all the vanilla things the toasted vanilla things that you love.
I know.
What are you most likely? So if you were at a dessert table, you could only choose one, and what would you naturally gravitate to?
It'll have to be the chocolate. I'll just say chocolate. Yeah,
Okay.
All right.
chocolate. Yeah.
And
Milk chocolate?
yeah, do you have a favorite kind of chocolate?
Not really.
Hmm.
Not really dark chocolate, but I love cooking with dark chocolate. Like I love
Mhm.
baking the dark chocolate.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, so yeah, maybe a bit more on the dark side.
Okay.
We're going to the dark
Yeah,
side now.
yes, dark side.
The dark side. I mean, Christina was already putting her active judgment face on just in case you said something about white chocolate not being chocolate. Because she's
Oh,
very adamant that white chocolate is chocolate, even though I say, but
how is it not chocolate?
Thank
it
you.
it is chocolate if
Thank
it
you.
has cocoa butter
Oh,
in it.
That's
But
the only
most of
white
the white,
chocolate I'll eat.
I don't know what it's like in Australia, but
yeah,
the white chocolate here, most of the white chocolate you get does not have any cocoa butter in it, and it's just candy.
yeah,
But it
yep.
tastes
Okay.
really good, and I love it. So
I
I don't really
know.
care what it's called.
I know. I've been thinking about a white chocolate and macadamia ice cream this morning.
Mm.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yum.
Mm.
Yum, yum, yum.
So yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
That sounds tasty. Now we're thinking
Yeah.
about this white chocolate and
Yes. White
macadamia nut
chocolate and
ice cream.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
sounds very, very good.
All right.
Next.
Perry breast or the pêche con crema that you
Oh,
made as part of
those
the
were so
technicals?
cute.
Which is your
Oh,
favorite?
the Paro breast. That was
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful bake.
Yeah. Nice. Now, is there one of the technical bakes that you would never ever want to see in your life ever again?
Yes, the Christmas baubles, the Christmas
Oh
chocolate.
I
man.
can't believe they made you make those. They were
That was
incredible. But
that was
wow.
that that could have just been a whole hour episode, just that technical bake. That
Yeah.
wow. That's all I'll say.
Okay, not enjoyable.
So
Gotcha.
nobody can expect
Enjoyable.
Christmas baubles for the holiday season ever
Never,
from Dimi.
ever. No, no, not from me. No, definitely not. Maybe from Lorena. She did really well in that tech bake. She's so good at tempering chocolate, but yeah, definitely not me.
Yeah, that was a frustrating bake to watch for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, and when we're watching it, we're picturing trying it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're just so glad we didn't have to. So,
No. Yeah. No. That would probably have to be the worst out of all
okay,
of
that
them.
makes some sense. All right. Well, how about sweet or savory bakes?
Sweet.
To eat or to bake?
Both.
Okay.
So do
Yeah,
you have a favorite? What's your favorite dessert?
see, yep. This is
Oh,
hard because whenever someone says to me, what's your favorite, food? And I'm like, I don't actually have one because I just love food. But yeah, even with cakes, actually, fruity cakes. I love fruity cakes. So cakes
Okay.
with like pears. I just got a massive basket of peaches given to me like yesterday or
yum.
the day before. So I'm going to make a peach cake with a crumble. Like they're my types of cakes. I
Okay.
do love.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds so good.
that does sound good because it's summer there and you've got all the abundance of fruit and
Stone fruits
yeah,
and
you were picking cherries not that long ago. That's one of my ultimate
apricots.
favorites.
Yes. Oh, now that was you with the you grew up
Yeah,
On
I
an
grew up on a I grew up
Okanagan.
on a fruit orchard. Yeah.
Yes. That is
Yeah.
just so amazing. I love that. Love
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So good. Yeah.
So
Yes.
special.
You should
Yeah.
see Dimi. You should go look at on her Instagram page and see the
Yes.
bake that she made for the open call yesterday.
And you need to check out Lisa's as well.
Okay,
I
and you
tried
need
to,
to check
I,
out mine too, but
I know, but I tried to find you guys and I can't. What are
oh, that's
you
all right.
like?
We'll send it.
Oh,
Yeah,
We're,
send it. Can
we'll
you
send it
just
to
yeah.
you.
We'll send it
Yeah.
tag
to
me?
you. Yep.
I was looking
Yeah.
and I'm like, where are you? So
Who
She
are
made
you? Who are you?
she made a cherry for the top of her little tiny petite gâteau,
oh
and it
my gosh.
looked, people thought it was a real cherry, and it was made out of cherry
Wow.
mousse with a pit made out of cherry compote with you coated in colored white chocolate with a dark chocolate stem. They were the most beautiful things.
Oh my
So
goodness.
delicious and so
You're
beautiful.
too. Yep. Stop it.
Wow. Wow. Okay, I
Okay.
cannot wait to look at that. Please tag me in your page so I can start following.
Yes, we
Obviously,
shall
I'm
do.
following baking scraps, but I don't
Yes.
have your individual pages.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, we
Nice.
can make that happen. All
Thank
right.
Definitely.
you.
So
All
the
right.
next one, signature, technical, or showstopper? What was your favorite?
I would, I think the showstoppers. I think,
Even the 6 hour
I
one.
think, yeah, the six
With your
hour.
mother judging how you were
What the
killing your
hell?
cakes.
Um, no, I think I liked, yeah, I mean, they were stressful to come up with, but I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I think just having that longer time and, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think I just enjoyed those ones
Yeah.
more.
It can be quite elaborate. And I mean,
Yeah.
you're definitely given license to be quite elaborate, even just with the brief. It wasn't like
Yeah.
make a centerpiece. It was like make this that does this and has this
Yes.
incorporated. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. But no, it was yeah, I'd say yeah, I enjoyed the tech bakes. I mean, not the tech, but the
The
showstopper.
showstopper.
Yeah, yeah,
And
definitely not.
your favorite showstopper that you made?
I would have to say my finale
Mm.
piece. It wasn't beautiful, but I don't know. I think the meaning behind it, and that's why I loved it so much. I think yeah, just that growth and yeah, just all the different elements and that seed into bloom.
Yeah.
So, and that was my journey. So it was yeah, so that would have to be my favorite bake. And I think it's so hard because it's your finale bake. You want it to be perfect, but you just don't have the time to when you're in the thick of it to think of anything. Well, I mentally could not think of anything more than that.
Mhm.
So, if you had more time, it would have probably been a bit prettier and a bit more elaborate. But that would definitely have to be my favorite out of all
And
of them.
then there's that moment of we did it. We're done.
Yep.
and just, I mean, it's such a rush and a relief and a bit of a not let down, but just like
But it's
emptiness at the
done.
same
It's
time.
Yeah.
done. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
three
it's
of you
over.
just meeting together and being like celebrating and oh
It's
man, it was
it's
beautiful to watch.
yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was special. It was really nice. So
Yeah.
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 Lots, lots
And that
attached there.
and the French, yeah. And the friendship that you have with Elliot and Arvin as well. I mean,
Oh,
you've gotten together since,
yep. Yep. We're so tight. We're just
yeah.
like, and it's interesting because I feel like we sort of gravitated towards each other at the start. Like
Mm,
we were always quite close and meant to be in the finale, like the three of us in the end. It was just really like, oh, this is really special. So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're just, yeah.
that's so
It's
good.
Yeah.
you'll be close with everyone, but yeah, it was really nice too.
Okay, tell us the truth. Did you write it down in re week one? I'm going to be in the finale with Elliot and Arvin.
I'll have to go back through and read what I had scripted. Actually, I don't know if I was scripting back then.
Hmm.
I don't know if I had started, but I will go back through because I
Yeah,
do
because
keep a
you
journal.
documented
Yeah.
everything,
I
so
have,
Yeah.
I
it'll
have.
be very
Yes,
interesting to
I
see
have.
that.
It'll be interesting.
Yes. Okay, celebration week or Italian week?
I think Italian. Okay, that would have to be one of my favorite foods.
Yeah.
Love Sri Lankan food, but I also love Italian food.
Mm,
Yep,
Italian
so
food
it's
is very good.
Italian week.
yeah.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
Nice.
I
Your
did like
favorite thing about Italian week?
it. Again, the showstopper, creating the showstopper.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
cannot remember what the showstopper was for Italian
That
week.
was the tiramisu.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
that's
oh
right.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
we
Oh,
talked to Arvin about
Arvin
the
about his
tiramisu.
tiramisu.
Oh my gosh. He's
Yeah.
creative. Like I just remember turning around going, oh my goodness. And there's Arvin. Every single time you're like, what's he done today? He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
right out of the park. He was,
Full of
yeah.
That's
surprises. Yes.
Oh my gosh, amazing. He would just surprise you every single time. Even though you knew he was amazing, but just what was going through his mind and, just to see what he'd created, it's like, wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
wow.
I know.
Yeah.
And he's so unassuming and quiet.
mhm.
And then all of a sudden it's just like, whoa, what did you just do?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
How
yes,
does your mind work to come up with
yes.
something like that?
Yep, yep. So quietly confident, like he's
Mhm.
just so quiet, but just so big,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. And
Um,
Yeah.
just takes the compliments very like, oh, oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Lovely.
He's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it was lovely to see not anything against any of the other bakers, but to see the three of you together in the finale
Mhm.
was really,
Yeah.
really
It was,
wonderful.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. It was, yeah, I really, yeah, I couldn't have asked for two better people to be in the finale with, really.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So that was
good.
special. Yeah.
Definitely. I can see that.
All
All
right.
right. Oh, here we go.
Macaron
Mm.
or shoe?
I think shoe. I'm a little bit over macarons.
Do
I
you think
love
they're
macarons.
passé? Do you think people have moved
Yeah,
past
yes.
macarons?
I feel like they have a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. I do have to make some. Saying that, I do have to make some, and I do enjoy making them, but I think I just love shoe more.
Yeah. The
Yep.
versatility of them
Yep. I love
or
them. I have all the different fillings you can fill them
mhm.
with. And yeah, they are. They're just so versatile and
It's so satisfying
wow.
to open the oven and see them there all
Yeah. And then
Oh,
ginormous.
I know. And I love making croquembouches. Like I just
oh, nice.
and and
Gotta
they're
try
just
one.
that is just so satisfying,
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. But you should see my hands. Like, see these disgusting burns?
Oh, burns,
They're
yeah.
all burns from the
Oh,
toffee. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Scarred
wow.
for life. But at least it was because of baking, so it's okay.
there
They're
you
my
go.
Exactly, yeah.
They're not as painful, right? Versus
Yeah,
if
that's
you do it
right.
like accidentally. If it happens
Exactly.
during baking, it's like, oh, that's okay.
Fine. It's
Yeah.
fine with baking.
It's all good. It's
They're
all good.
like stretch marks. They're just something that you get in in the creation of something magical.
Exactly. That's right.
Right.
That's right. You can deal.
Definitely. Okay, breads or cakes?
Cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how is the bread journey going?
Yes.
It's not.
You're like, I just don't want to make bread, so I
I
just
just
won't.
am not a bread maker. No, I've been watching Elliot and Adrian making these gorgeous focaccias, and I'm like,
Mm,
how do you do that? Because I just, yeah, that is not my strong point.
mm.
Mhm.
So bread
That's
week, which is only the second week, that was so stressful because I'm like, this is my make or break week.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, like yeah, actual breads and sourdoughs. I don't know. I don't think I've got the patience for that for
mm.
making bread.
Mhm. I definitely don't have the patience for sourdough. I,
Yeah,
I
no,
I'm
yeah.
just I love it. It's my favorite. My daughter is really, really getting into sourdough, which is great because then every time I want sourdough, she'll just bring me some sourdough.
It's probably the best way to have it.
It is the best
Yeah.
way to do it. Like I'll bake
Have a
everything
friend who
else,
makes it.
but yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right?
Yep.
You have somebody to make it.
Yeah.
I
You
totally
can
forgot what I
trade.
was going to say, but oh well, that's
You
okay.
can trade other goodies for the sourdough.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
I've got a friend here in tomorrow who she's an amazing. So what happened was I was babysitting Elliot's sourdough starter over over
That's
Christmas. Not
stressful.
this, not this Christmas, the last Christmas. So I was looking anyway, so I'd keep some of his discard or whatever it's called.
Yeah, yeah.
And and then I bottled some up and when I came back home to tomorrow for Christmas, I gave some to my friend. Anyway, she took it upon her to just herself just to practice, practice, practice. Now she's this amazing sourdough queen, and she makes the most amazing sourdough breads through Elliot's starter. So it was
Hey,
just, just a
brilliant.
little, yeah. So it's great. So she's still got it. But yes, I will just let her make the bread,
That
and
works. See, we all
it
have a
works.
sourdough person. This is perfect.
It is.
Oh, what
Great.
that's what I was going to say is it's good that bread week is early in the season.
Mm.
Yeah.
There are more bakers, so your
Yeah.
chances of getting further are higher, except for
Yeah.
one person, which is sad.
Yeah.
But you know,
I know, but I just thought, oh my gosh. And then yeah, after that it was like, okay, I've just got to get through this bake. I've just got to,
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah, get past the first 5 weeks.
yeah,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh.
All
So
righty.
baking in the shed or baking at home?
Oh, I liked both. Baking at home. Baking in the shed was very stressful, but it was also, when I look back on it now, it was so fun as well. Like,
Yeah.
you're with everyone. Yeah. Yeah. It's just that it's so
Selective memory, Dimi, I
yeah,
think.
that is right. That is right. Yeah, when it's always you only remember the good things.
Good.
That's
That
a
is a
good
very healthy
thing.
coping
Yep,
mechanism for the
Yes.
that's
brain to
right.
have.
It's like after a breakup, when you just remember just the good things.
Yeah, that's dangerous though.
Yeah, it's like Bake Off. You just remember the good things.
And that's probably a very, very good thing.
Yes,
But
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. But yeah,
yeah.
no, baking in my kitchen. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Do you have a small kitchen or
I do. It's only a small kitchen, but this year I got I've got a new backdrop, which I might show you. Don't look. So where I'm sitting now is my little content room, which will turn into
Beautiful.
a room. So it's actually on my outdoor entertaining area, but so I'm starting to sweat a lot, as you can probably see. It's getting a bit hot in here. But this is I've got what I did was I got a backdrop made, and it looks like I'm standing in my kitchen. So when you see my reels now, I'm
uh,
not in my kitchen, I'm in my backdrop.
That is
Uh,
incredible.
yeah.
okay, I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a little, you
Sn-
know, it's a little
Sneaky.
secret that everyone will know now. But yeah, no, it just and just because of the lighting in here, and so
Yeah.
I do all my baking in my kitchen, which is just behind me in there, and then I'll create all my content in here, and
You
then
know
That
that,
is
what? The
amazing.
best part about that,
yeah.
I mean, is that you don't have to worry about cleaning up the kitchen before you display everything.
Right.
No,
Oh, right,
that's a
exactly. This is
pain.
always just clean and yeah, it's just yeah, but it's made a huge difference to my content creating because my kitchen isn't a space I can film in and
Mhm.
it's too dark and it's just doesn't have the nice aesthetic that I
Yeah.
like.
This light
Um
is beautiful.
yeah, it's got
It's
nice
brilliant.
You
light.
Like,
look best. I'm completely exhausted from traveling yesterday, so I didn't even bother putting any makeup on. But I'm glad
Oh,
that you are
God,
star.
look
You look
amazing.
beautiful.
Amazing. I wish I could have just rocked up with no makeup on. Oh, but yeah,
Filter.
so yeah.
So is that an exact duplicate of your kitchen, or is it just like
No,
doesn't look like that
no,
at all?
it doesn't look like that at all, but I
mm,
would love a beautiful kitchen one day. So I was thinking, I was like, right, let's start renovating, but I thought I'm gonna just wait another year and do it properly.
yeah.
So I think, yeah, I'm just gonna work with what I've got now and then whether this wall behind me gets knocked down and this whole space becomes like
Mm.
an open, like, a bigger kitchen space, but then I also need space to film and whether that it'll just be the whole everything. The heart of the home. But
Yeah, it is.
yeah, actually funny thing. So my
Mhm.
house is actually on Baker Street.
Oh, that's
Oh,
wonderful.
that is perfect.
Isn't that crazy?
I love
So
that.
I bought this house in 2018 and I remember I was looking for houses and I was like, oh, and I couldn't find one that I liked. Everything needed so much doing up. And I was like, right, that's it. I'll just live in mum and dad's granny flat for one more year and then I'll start looking again. And then the real estate agent called me and said, we've got a house on the market. You should come and have a look at it. I was like, no, I'm not looking anymore. I'm just going to wait. No, no, come and just come and have a look. And I walked in and I was like, oh, I didn't even take notice of the
Of
Baker
the
Street.
street. Yeah.
Come and have a look at the house. And walked in and I was like, oh my goodness, this is like in perfect condition. And I walked through that house, I think 5 times, and took mum and dad through it and everything. And the agent's like, okay, what are you doing? What are you thinking? And I'm like, okay, I need this house. I'm gonna get, I want it. So yeah. And then mum's like, it's on Baker Street. I'm like, oh my God, it was meant to be. So yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that
it was just
so,
meant to
so
be.
good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think for me, for Baker Street, I would love this space to eventually be a space I can share with people, like as an Airbnb,
Mhm.
even as a space for other content creators to be here and create their content and, just a creative space for creatives.
Mm.
Baker Street Productions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I was thinking like serendipity on Baker.
Oh, I love it. Oh, that's
Mm.
beautiful.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was like, maybe serendipity on Baker. I don't know. But yeah, just
Like it. It's great. That's
yeah, just
perfect.
a space for one day. That's like, way, way down once.
No, you have to decide now what year, and then you have
I
to
know, I
script
will. I
it.
will. Okay, I will do that again today. See again, lots
Yeah,
of inspiration after
you've
today.
got a lot of scripting to do today.
A
Yes.
lot of, so do you.
Yeah, you're right. I promise.
We're gonna start. We're gonna start
Yes,
We
today.
are.
yes,
Yes.
good,
So,
All
good.
right. Now here comes the last question. If you have
Yes,
seen or heard our podcast before, we will modify it a little bit since you're not Canadian.
yes,
So the question is raisins in a bake, yes or no?
yeah,
Okay.
yep.
See,
'Cause
here comes the judgment face.
Dimi,
Really?
I thought we were going to be aligned.
I don't mind raisins in bakes.
What
She's
happened?
she's just disappointed. Dimmy, I like raisins in
In
most
bakes?
things. Well, she likes
Yeah.
it in some bakes, but like
Bread,
the Canadian
bread,
version of
and
this
oatmeal
question,
cookies.
yeah,
Oh
bread
yeah.
and oatmeal
Yeah.
cookies.
Two things.
So the
Yeah.
Canadian version of this question is they ask everybody on the show, on the Great
Yeah.
Canadian Baking Show, raisins in butter tarts, yes or no? We don't even know if you know what butter tarts are. So,
No. Yeah.
so we'll send you a recipe and you can
Okay.
try
Yeah,
it with raisins or without
that'll
raisins and see which you
okay.
like. She
Yeah.
despises raisins in butter tarts. And
Oh,
Or
I
enrobed
suddenly
in
realized I'm
chocolate,
okay with it.
or
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
yeah.
What is a butter tart? Oh, okay. Do we have time for you to
Yeah,
tell me or
we
not?
sure do. Why don't you explain what butter tarts are?
So basically they're a tart,
Yes.
like a mini pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, so butter tart essentially is made with eggs, some corn syrup, brown sugar, a little bit of vinegar. Am I
Yeah.
missing anything?
I don't
Vanilla.
remember. I've only ever made them once. I don't like butter tarts that much.
Yeah. So you mix all of that up, you pour it into the tart shell and you
Yeah.
bake it. And
It's like
then
a
some
gooey
people,
filling,
yeah,
really, like kind of
like a sugar
caramelly
pie.
Okay.
sugar pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet and
Right. I'm going to try that. Yes.
yeah.
So
Oh,
I
yeah.
soak my raisins in rum. If
Yep.
I use raisins in anything, they're usually soaked with rum.
Yes.
And
Good.
then put that in with the filling in the butter tarts, and it's
Okay.
lovely.
Yeah. That
If
sounds good.
if you like butter tarts, if you like that much sweetness, it's just a little too icky
A lot
sweet
of
for
sweet.
me.
Okay.
But we'll send you recipes, and you have to
Yes.
report back
And
to us.
Yeah.
I will make it and report back for sure. That'll be good.
Sounds good.
But
Sounds
for now, take note, Christina. For
I
now,
did.
for
I did. I wrote it down.
raisins,
Dimmy may need to
disappointing
reconsider
Dimi.
this friendship.
We're gonna
Just
that will
kidding.
be your title card will be disappointing Dimi. No, we would never do that.
Chana
Never.
lover.
You gotta love her.
Spoiler alert, she likes raisins.
Right. Yeah, that's it. Oh my gosh.
She's
Oh,
another one of those.
bloody
Okay.
Australian.
That's the episode. If you're gonna watch any of our episodes, that's probably the one that you should watch. Is the one is our second episode or
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
first or
it's just
second
the
episode?
two of us. It's the only
Just
one
the
where
two of us.
we've not had a guest.
Yeah, it's called
Okay.
Introducing the Scraps, and it's just a conversation between the two of us, and then we do a bit of a this or that with each.
Okay. All right. I will
That's a
listen
fun
to
one.
that. So
Yeah.
episode 2. I'm writing
So,
that
so
down.
fun.
Yeah, pretty sure it's
Okay.
episode 2.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, this has been so much fun.
Been
Mhm.
so good. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
I
It's been so
really
nice. I could
appreciate
just
it.
sit here and talk to you all day.
Well, that's
We
great.
feel the same way about
Yeah.
chatting with you. And I think you know what might be really, really fun is because you and Arvin and Elliot are such a great team together. It would be so fun to do an episode with the
Oh,
three of you guys.
absolutely. That
That
would
would
be
be
so cool. Let's organize it. We will.
How
Yep.
far are you away from each other?
So Elliot's in Sydney, and so he is Sydney from tomorrow is about 4 hours,
Okay.
4.5 hours
Okay.
driving. And then Arvin's in Melbourne, which is about 6 hours from tomorrow driving. So
Wow.
a better flight is like 1 hour.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
Not too far away. No.
So if there's ever a time when the three of you have already planned to get together, it would be
Yes.
nice if we could have you all three together in this
Absolutely.
screen. Otherwise, we'll
That's
just do 3 separate screens, which
Yeah.
is harder. But
yeah. Yep. No, we will because we are trying to work out a time when the boys can actually come to tomorrow because they're dying to get to the country. So we'll we'll do some content creating in here.
yes,
So
Fun.
but yeah,
Perfect.
we can have another chat with you guys. That'll be really cool.
that would be wonderful. Something to
Marvelous.
look forward to. Really, really
Um,
excited about that.
Yeah,
Well,
that'll be
thank you,
good.
Dimi.
Thank
Do
you so
you
much.
we're going to wrap it up with something
Yes,
that we
Yep.
ask all our bakers,
yes.
which is, do you have a baking scrap that you can share with our audience? And that would be a tip or a trick for people maybe who are just starting out in baking, or maybe who are trying to get on a show, or maybe they just something that you find very useful in your
Okay.
baking journey.
I did write a few pieces of advice and tips.
Excellent. Love it.
Perfect.
Can it be a few?
It
Of
can be a few.
course. Yes, we'll take all
Okay.
the advice we
We'll
can
take
get.
all the exactly. We need help.
First bit of advice, read the recipe.
Mm,
That's whether you're on Bake Off or just in general, always read the recipe first. Because you know how sometimes you'll be just like, all right, yep, get all of it, and then you're like, oh, I don't know, you just
yeah.
misstep. But
Yeah.
yeah, just read the recipe. Take inspired action every day. So if you want to get onto a show like Bake Off or whatever, inspired action every day. And it could be, watching Bake Off on TV is a bit of inspired action, It doesn't have to mean you have to bake, but do something inspiring that will lead you to that. Be yourself. And I never watch I mean, obviously I'm inspired by what other people do, but I think you just stay in your own lane and
Mhm.
just be you, and people will find you and gravitate to you. And yeah, don't compare, just be you.
Just
And
be you.
yeah, and oh, this is my motto I always live by: feel the fear and do it anyway, and always do it with style.
Yes.
Love it.
So, yep,
Perfect.
you do it anyway. Even if you're going to apply for Bake Off, feel the fear, do it anyway.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Feel the
Because it
fear and
is
Love it.
do it anyway.
scary. When they asked me yesterday, what would you, if we called you and said you're on the show, how would you feel? And I was like, absolutely terrified and thrilled at the same time. And
Yep,
that's one of those things that your best work can come from pushing through
Mm.
that fear or
Mhm.
even just
absolutely.
embracing it, right? Just that little
Absolutely.
bit. So
Yep,
it's kind of making me more excited
yep.
just talking to
Feel
you about
it,
it.
you feel it, and you just do it anyway. That's with
Yeah,
every big decision. It's just like, right, just feel it. Scary. Just do it anyway.
just do it.
Gotta do it.
Do
Jump
it
in.
anyway. Yep,
Yeah.
jump in.
Both
So that's
feet.
my
I love it. Thank you
advice.
so
That
much.
is what an
Oh,
inspiring
and
conversation. Oh,
sorry,
Oh, another one.
invest, invest in a good set of scales,
mhm.
Mhm.
measuring cups, and measuring spoons. That's just, even whether you're a baker or not, it just
Mhm.
is negotiable in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Kitchen essentials.
Yep. Yes.
That's wonderful. Well, I mean, I can't tell you how inspirational it has been speaking with you today, Dimi,
Oh,
and how much just the support and the love and the passion that you exude for what you do and what you continue to do. And I can't wait to see the rest of your journey just evolve and keep growing. And like Lisa said earlier, you are such a force and a
oh,
beautiful one at that. So
oh,
we really we're so
you guys
enjoying.
are, thank you so much. And I just love this podcast, and I love what you guys have created. And I just know you're going to be on the show. So I can't wait to get that message to say you're on the show. I'll keep my lips because you don't want to tell anyone when you get on there. You've
I
got to keep it.
know.
Yeah, right?
So, but I promise I won't say anything.
All right. We'll keep that in
Um,
mind.
yeah, keep me posted. I'll be waiting
Oh,
patiently.
thank you. We so appreciate that. And this, yeah, I agree. It's been a wonderful conversation. I just really have
Thanks.
enjoyed it. So
It's
Yeah,
been
it's
so
been
much fun.
lovely. So
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Yes.
And great to meet you both. And
Nice meeting you too.
don't forget to
And
tap your pages.
if you are ever in the Vancouver area in Canada, if your travels ever bring you out here, please, please,
Yeah,
please reach
I
out.
I will. Well, my sister-in-law's Canadian.
Oh,
She's from Victoria though.
that's where
Is
I
that
that's
am.
where Lisa's from.
That's where I
oh,
live.
well, there you go.
Yes.
Well, I'll
Okay.
come in. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's meet in Victoria.
Definitely do. Yes, because that's an
Yeah.
excuse to get Christina over here to my
Yes.
and yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
definitely. We have
Fantastic. Yeah.
space. I
Yeah.
have an
My
Airbnb too.
Oh, fantastic. I'll book that out. Um,
Yeah, be in touch.
maybe I'll bring the boys over. Maybe the boys and I can come over. But
Okay,
no,
now,
yeah,
now I don't have an extra kitchen set up outside, but
that's okay. That's okay.
you
Okay, I'll
come
just
when
come
it's
over.
your winter and my summer, or
Yes.
Yeah.
unless I'm
Yeah.
filming Toronto, but
Yeah. Fantastic.
stay
No,
in
but yeah,
touch.
so that will be great.
I love
All
it.
right.
That's great.
That's
Thank you
awesome.
Well,
so
I'll
much.
speak to you
Have a wonderful
Sounds
rest
good.
of your day.
soon. Too. Take care.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jimmy.
All
Bye.
right.
Bye.
Bye.
That was great.
What an inspirational
I know.
discussion, really. I mean,
100%. I
oh,
I feel like so psyched up right now. I'm just like, Demi believes in us. Demi believes in us. I know, because she was such a joy to watch.
mhm.
But I mean, even after watching the entire 10 weeks of Bake Off Australia, I mean, I enjoyed this even more. Like
I did, yeah.
just getting to know her and talk to her and hear her story and yeah, just find so much more inspiration. Like I'm fired up. It's
So
great.
cool. Yeah,
I
no, it's
know.
always, I mean, that's the other great thing. And the opportunity that we have to connect, to make these connections
Yeah.
with so many incredible people that you come across, and just, again, I think Dimi was saying about the connection and the community, and it's so special to be able to have those moments with these incredible people from all over the world.
I
Like,
know.
how lucky are we to be able to do this
I know.
and make these connections, and hopefully our audience will also reach out and connect
With
with
each other.
each other
Yeah.
and continue to build this beautiful baking community that we're all part of.
Yeah. And I think we've been seeing that happen over the past however many months that we've been doing this. It's been so wonderful to have people say, "Oh, I didn't even know about this baker." And then
Yeah,
I saw them or heard them on your
exactly.
podcast and we've been connecting. And yeah, it is an amazing thing
Mhm.
that we have been able to be a part of here.
We're
So
so, yeah, we're so
we're so
lucky.
lucky.
Yay!
Thank you for being a part of it with me.
Thank you for being a part of it with me. I'm so glad we didn't make it on season 8 last year, because this is how baking scraps came to be.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we took that disappointment and we channeled those energies into something really super cool. And I so look forward to the season 2 with you, and onwards and upwards.
Yeah. I mean, this is just one of those threads like Demi was talking about, like all the different things that happen that are put in place. You don't really know when they're happening, how they're going to affect you in the future, but then it all comes together and you're like,
Yeah.
this is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Well,
This is what is supposed to be happening. And boy, am I grateful.
right. Same
And
here.
and for our friendship because we've
Same.
become so much closer because of it. And
Same.
yeah, it's just wonderful. I love you.
I love you too, my friend. All right. Well, until next week,
Yes.
happy baking.
Happy baking.
Take care.
Bye.